Please, please be ready for the lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanne, again. Sorry for a little bit late start. I had, so many questions during the break time, sorry about that. Anyway, we can start again. Okay, topic is about the dosimetry. Okay, in case of thyroid cancer, this is the usual therapeutic strategy. We can apply the surgery first, and then we can give a radiation ablation or therapy, and then we will give the thyroid hormone suppression. So everything is related to the biology of the thyroid cancer. So surgery, the purpose is that remove the primary tumor and the clinical significant lymph nodes. And the thyroid hormone suppression is that just because different thyroid cancer, it expresses the TSH receptor. So suppression of the TSH can decrease the recurrence. Because of that, we give the thyroid hormone in case of the thyroid cancer patients. Usually, we give a little bit more than the physiologic dose, so we can suppress the level of the TSH, which will be produced in the pituitary gland of the patient. So talk about the radioiodine. The thyroid follicular cell, even the malignant, the cells are able to uptake the radioiodine specifically. Once concentrated within the cell, iodine 131, it will undergo beta decay, release a high energy electron that induce the highly localized radiation toxicity, as well as emitting gamma ray, so we can detect that the lesion using the scanner. This is just in a cartoon. Here's the NIS, solmazine powder. It will take up the one iodine combined with the 2 sodium iodine. So it will go to the apical membrane and the pendrin. It will push out the iodine, and the peroxidase, it will oxidize the iodine, and finally the iodine will attach to the thyroglobulin. It is stored in the follicle of the thyroid, and then we all need the thyroid hormone, right? So the follicular cell will take up some of the thyroglobulin, and the lysozyme, it will cut. And then finally, the thyroid hormone will go to end up in the circulation. So the hormone act on the whole body, any type of the cells. Instead of the iodine 127, it is quite abundant in the kelp and the fish and the milk. It is utilized to make thyroid hormone. Instead of that, we can give the iodine 131, so we can handle the disease. Just because iodine 131, it will emit the beta ray. So the beta ray attack the DNA directly or indirectly. Okay. So already I explained this patient, right? The lady, obtained complete remission by the 3 times of radioiodine therapy. In this case, iodine 131, improved the overall and the disease-specific survival, and reduced recurrence disease, and the mortality and the morbidity decreased. Just imagine, if we do not use the iodine 131, we need to do some surgery more, right? So, value of the iodine 131 in different thyroid cancer is that in patients with the residual cancer, already I mentioned that the iodine 131 will destroy or eradicate the cancer tissue, and then it will improve the overall and the specific survival. But in patients without the proven residual disease, so what is the clinical value for that? So this is a very famous study performed 20 years back by Dr. Mazzaferri. He worked at the Ohio University. A couple of years back, he passed away. At there, he did a very large long-term study As you can see, number of the patient thyroid cancer more than 1,000, and the follow-up period more than 45 years. So, thyroid cancer, we think that the thyroid cancer is quite smoldering and not progress very well. So some people, it's fine. We can live with the thyroid cancer, but it is not like that. As you can see, at the surgery recurrence rate, if you follow more than 40 years, recurrence rate is approaching 30%, and the cancer death is also approaching 10%. Here is that the application of the radioiodine, what kind of value we can give. Here the recurrence, this is death. Recurrence without the radioiodine ablation like this, with the radioiodine, you can see quite a decrease, just around 20%. Death, exactly the same as the recurrence. This is my experience, papillary thyroid cancer, who have iodine 130 ablation, more than 1,000, and we did the SPECT-CT. Some people just have remnant, and some people has metastatic nodes visualized in SPECT-CT. So many people follow-up loss, but still there is a half of around 30 or 40% of the patient was follow-up was successful. Just because nearby my hospital, they some hospital doesn't have the radioiodine therapy room, so they just asked me to do the iodine 131 therapy. So after the therapy, I back refer the patient to the clinician. So because of that, so much follow-up loss is there. But anyway, in the metastatic group, even metastatic is found on the SPECT-CT after the iodine 131 therapy, just around 7 to 8% persistent disease. Otherwise, more than 90% they are fine with the iodine 131 therapy. Okay, here is one example. 55 male, papillary cancer. During the surgery, lymph node metastasis was found. Even that that dissection after the radiation therapy, we got the post-therapy scan. As you can see, like this. Nine months later, after the therapy, we didn't do anything, such as the surgery or external radiation, nothing was done. But just with the single therapy, not much uptake was there. As you can see, PG level is less than 0.2. So this is quite amazing to me. Just already I just provided one example before, right? You remember that the recurrence of the lymph node, just the application of the iodine 131 therapy, the patient was fine. It is quite a similar one. So remnant ablation can be facilitate detection of the recurrent disease and the initial staging by ablative remnant. And the adjuvant therapy, this is that the destroying suspected but the unproven cancer. Radioiodine therapy is to treating the persistent cancer. We can categorize the purpose of the iodine 131 therapy. For the success of the iodine 131 ablation, appropriate amount of the absorbed dose should be delivered to the target tissue by administration of the iodine 131. Here. So, for the success, target tissue should absorb dose more than 300 in case of remnant. In case of the tumor, more than 80. But for the safe tissue, absorb dose to the whole body should be less than 2 gray. So this was published a long time back. So how can it determine iodine 131 dose to the individual patient? We can apply empirical flexible dose or quantitative tumor dosimetry or blood or whole body dosimetry. So empirical therapy is most widely used. I think that more than 95% of institutions using just the empirical therapy, just because of quite simple. And then it's quite safe. I never experienced the patient dying by application of iodine 131 using the empirical therapy. Even very young patients, So, empirical therapy, SNM guideline, and become a physician. So, I love this SNM guideline. So, lemon ablation, 30 to 100, and cancer treatment, more than 150. This is metastasis, maybe you can give more than 200. So, even you cannot find the metastatic lesion. If there is a high TG level, we can give additional therapy. Anyway, this is the guideline, suggested by the Nuclear Medicine Society. A little bit different from the Thyroid Clinician Association. So here is that some studies. So many people work on that ablation success by giving just a low dose, 30 millicurie. The success rate is average around 50, half and half. If you increase the dose up to 100 millicurie, the success rate will be approaching 90%. So higher dose is better to get the success. So a meta-analysis was performed, and it was published in 2007. As you can see, the higher dose is, you can see here, deviated. So it means that the higher dose is better. But, just a couple of years back, another meta-analysis, it says that, higher and low dose, not much different. Success rate is quite similar. So this is that just a copy of the NEJM. Very famous study from the France, one from England. This is just one example produced by Dr. Shalom Boze. He did this experiment, clinical experiment. In this clinical trial, 30 and 100 millicurie, and preparation with the human thyroid, and 30 and 100 millicurie preparation with the thyroid hormone withdrawal. Success rate all the same, around 90%. So conclusion of this clinical trial is that just giving low dose, just because success rate is quite similar, and then they prefer using the recommended human TSH. So the patient will not suffer by the hypothyroid status during certain time of period. That is the conclusion of this paper. This is that NCCN guideline. It's American National Cancer Comprehensive Network guideline. It says that laminate ablation, 30 millicurie. In case of the low risk or slight higher than low risk. And the cancer treatment, they recommend 100 and 200 millicurie. Another guideline, British Thyroid Association guideline, they recommend laminate ablation, 30 millicurie, more than that. In case of low, 30 definitely. Intermediate, high, careless dose is needed. Maybe apply the dosimetry. For the treatment, up to 150. Okay, this is that the latest guideline, IAEA guideline. It says that the laminate ablation, 30 to 150, like this. It also case by case. Cancer treatment 100 to 200. In case of the lung metastasis, recommend up to 200. Bone metastasis up to 200. They also said that one safety issue. Patient is quite older than 70, and very slender, and the low body weight. And they recommend use a lesser dose. Observed dose. Let's talk about that. If you give the radioiodine, it will distribute the whole body, and with the time, it can localize some tissue which is able to take up the radioiodine by its own biology. Thyroid cancer, same. If expressed sodium symphoter, it will take up the radioiodine. So it will stay quite some time at there. So you can make this kind of graph. The x-axis is time, y-axis iodine uptake. So it's slightly going up, and it will wash away. So with this graph, you can get the absorbed dose. higher uptake you can make. Higher uptake, a little bit big. So, as you can see this arrow, in the same patient, if you give more radioiodine, the reason will take up more. It's kind of mathematics. If you give more, it will go there more. So, just a little bit more you give, curve will be like this. So absorb dose will be increased by that. So here is that quite a simple one. You can increase dose, you can increase the effect, but the adverse effect they will have more, and the severity of side effect will increase more. So we need to optimize that. So best iodine 131 dose, how can you determine? A lot of people just using the empirical dose, right? As I mentioned before, just because it's quite simple. As a clinician, you can just decide, okay, you 100, you 150, that's all. For the dosimetric study, you have to do so many things, so many calculations, and you need to get so many imaging, and then finally end up some result. Okay, in your case, maybe 57.5 millicurie. You can decide that, but this is quite interesting. Same guideline, American Thyroid Association guideline. Although there are theoretical advantages to the dosimetric approach, no recommendation can be made about the superiority of one method over radioactive iodine administration over another. Talking about this. All the same result, even if we apply the dosimetry. But we need to focus on insufficient evidence. It doesn't mean dosimetry is better than the empirical. It just to say insufficient data. Still we don't know. I think that the main reason why we are not applying dosimetry and then we cannot make good result using the dosimetry is that too complex. As a doctor, as a physician, it might be not possible to make a very reproducible and very accurate dosimetric result. That is main reason, I think. So anyway, let's dig in the dosimetry. Internal dose, it's committed dose due to the intake of the radionuclide into the human body. It calculated from a variety of the physiology technique. External dose, you can simply measure using some film batch or daily batch. It's quite simple. But internal dosimetry is quite difficult. So, internal dose calculation in nuclear medicine normally use the technique equation resources provided by Medical Internal Radiation Dose Committee of the SNM. Maybe you heard about this. So the MID committee, they produce so many things. Maybe you can go in SNM website right now, you will see that. So they provide so many things. So this committee, it develops standard method, model, assumption, and the mathematical scheme for assessing internal radiation dose from administered radiation dose. So they also publicize the schema and pamphlet and the dose estimate report as well. So they reported that one on the Journal of Nuclear Medicine. So SNM website, you can found this kind of book. So in addition, they also published that pamphlet and the JNF report as well. They do so many work at there. Okay, let me explain just the concept of the source and the target organ in the merged with schema. So let's say here is some trace which accumulate in the brain and heart. So let's say you are interested in that radiation dose in the lung. In that case, just because the radionuclides accumulated at the brain and the heart, so lung, it will have some radiation which emitted by the radionuclide accumulated in the brain and the heart. So source organ will be the brain and heart. Target organ will be the lung. Another radionuclide or radiopharmaceutical, let's say it accumulated in the brain, lung, and heart. You're also interested in to measure radiation dose in the lung. In that case, still target organ is lung, but the source organ, lung is also source organ. So source and target may be the same organ. Okay, mathematics, so very difficult, but anyway, computer will give some number to you. So previously, new dose was used. Recently, the ORENDA program is developed. So this program provides, result of the more radionuclide, more than 800. And the one good thing is that this program is, written in Java. So personal computer is fine to learn this program. As I mentioned before, the absorbed dose dependent on the amount of the iodine 131, a certain organ, maybe target organ. So residence time is also important. Amount and the residence. And then you can get the multiple time imaging, not a single point. You need to get the multiple time imaging. And then you can have the area under the curve. And then finally, you can get the absorbed dose at the certain area. So recently, as I mentioned before, to get the dosimetry result is quite complex. It should use some very sophisticated program, and so many mathematics should be applied to get that. But recently, some dosimetric program was, now available by the company. So you can just buy that program. It is that the software and the hardware as well. And then you can easily get the dosimetric result. We bought that maybe 3 years back, and we did some experiment with that. So with this dosimetric toolkit, it's one of the program to measuring the dosimetric result. So if you use that one, you can determine the light dose for the radioisotope therapy. So this is that advanced clinical application that can help you quantify change in the radiopharmaceutical absorption over time through analyzing multiple whole body SPECT CT or PLANA and SPECT CT scan. So let me go over it as nothing. So let me explain about my very short experience about that. This is the thyroidology, so I'm talking about the thyroid cancer case. We gave 80 millicurie ablation of the thyroid cancer. In my hospital, usually patients stay 3 days at there. So we got we just giving the radioiodine day 0, and then we got the imaging, whole body imaging. Just 24 hours later, after giving iodine 131, and then 2 days later. And then 4 days later, we acquire additional imaging. At the last imaging whole body, we usually get the SPECT CT image as well. This is quite similar, but in this patient is that the 5 days later, just because maybe you can see this is a patient hospitalized at the Monday. This patient hospitalized Wednesday. So the day of 4 will be the Sunday. So we cannot get the imaging. Just because of that, we get the fifth day imaging. For the acquisition, we use the continuous mode, and the body contour was also applied, and the taper speed is like this. This is the day 1, day 2, day 5. As I mentioned before, last whole body acquisition, we usually do the SPECT CT as well. So with that PO image, we can get the dosimetric results. You can see the imaging intensity. Day 1 like this. Day 5, not much usually. So you need to put in so many things: patient height, weight, administration dose, and the time, exact time of the iodine ingestion. And then what kind of instrument you are using, collimator as well. And then you now have 4 images. And the software and the hardware, they know how to align that image. So automatically they align everything all together. Finally, we can get this image. So for the lung segmentation, quite simple. Just on the CT image, you can just click. It will make automatic segmentation of lung, and then it will provide the results. This is automatic alignment, or will be the same position. As it's fraction of the injected dose, it can give this kind of graph. So how much radioiodine will be there with the time. And then this program give so much data, spreadsheet or Olinda EXM data as well. Anyway, you can get this kind of spreadsheet, and then you can generate the Olinda file as well, like this. Using that file, you can put this file into the Olinda program. This is that the image got with the learning of the Olinda program. So you can put the this kind of things. Okay, I use iodine 131 like this, and then the patient is that the adult female in this kind of thing, and then you can put in the data obtained by the what's that? Okay, toolkit, dosimetric toolkit, and then finally you can get this result. So this data will provide that if you give the 1 millicurie, how much absorbed dose will be given to some area of the interest. It might be metastatic lesion, it might be the remnants. So this is the result of the our clinical trial. So a remnant, thyroid remnant. This is the lymph node metastasis of thyroid cancer. You can see remnant area radioiodine stay longer. Metastatic lesion stays shorter. You can imagine that. And then by the application of the thyroid hormone withdrawal, recommend the human TSH injection, it's different. Kinetics is different. So we measured the dose, absorbed dose using that program. So our result was like this. For the remnants, average was around 270 gray. Ovulation success recommendation dose is 300 gray, but a little bit less in our case. Metastatic lesion around 65. The recommendation is that more than 80, a little bit less. I think that because of that, not always successful. Some failure, some successful. The same by the preparation of the TSH elevation by using thyroid hormone elevation, thyroid hormone withdrawal, or the recombinant TSH injection, the absorbed dose was different. Based on our work, looks like the dosimetry-wise, recombinant human TSH looks better. Okay, then 131 accumulation, absorb dose. As I mentioned before, if you give higher dose, the iodine will be go there more, or you can reduce the whole body iodine. Because of that, you can increase accumulation of radioiodine, or you can give the TSH because the thyroid cells, malignant and benign, or respond well to the TSH if the thyroid cancer is that differentiate at the time. Second one is that it's better to less wash out from the target, such as the metastatic cancer lesion. Some people use the lithium carbonate to reduce the release rate of the iodine 131 from the metastatic lesion. The result of that is not very successful yet in clinically. The basic study, they said that if you give the lithium carbonate, iodine 131 stay a little bit longer, but in clinical results, not very well still. So because of that, generally we do not use the lithium during the iodine 131 therapy. So to maximize the absorbed dose, we need to enhance iodine 131 accumulation at the target at least. It's better to make prolongation of the residence time. So, as I mentioned before, still dosimetry is just the beginning step. So we do not have big information about using the dosimetry for the treatment of thyroid cancer using the iodine 131. Because of that, still insufficient data. So even guidelines do not suggest using the dosimetry. But later, I think that we can work on it, and then we can find that the value of dosimetry. So we can find out the quite optimal dose. Same as the previous, method. It's precision, optimization. Dosimetry should be applied for that. One problem is that the program itself is not well developed yet. Still, so many kind of the problems, bugs. So it should be developed more. Okay, let me summarize. Although there are theoretical advantages to dosimetric approach, dosimetry is not routinely recommended yet by absence of clear evidence of clinical benefits, and the dosimetry can be physically assessed by the help of available software and hardware of listening spec CT machine, and it will contribute to advancement of iodine 131 treatment. So, thank you. Any questions? Please, Doctor.
Can you elaborate on the maximal safe dose? Wherein you've given once or twice or thrice radioactive iodine and the patient is still resistant but still avid. So can you dwell on the maximal safe dose?
You mean the accumulated dose? Very tough question. I think that still nobody knows. But just based on the radio iodine refractory, not the nuclear metaphysician, just the thyroidologist, they think that patients still having cancer after giving 600 millicurie, they consider it is the radioiodine refractory. But I'm arguing that. I think that we can give iodine 131 until the reason is the radioiodine active. It doesn't mean just visualizing some uptake. If the reason is definitely take up the iodine 131, I think that we can give additional dose. But always we need to think about the adverse effect of iodine 131, especially about the carcinogenesis. You may know about that, right? So maybe you have more experience than me.
Because a Korean formulated the maximal safe dose wherein you have to really compute the preliminary iodine. It's quite tedious. You do it like 5 days. It was from a Korean.
Unfortunately, I didn't get that point of view. I need a hearing aid. Sorry about that. What is your point of question?
Because
I have encountered that it was a Korean who did the maximal safe dose. It's quite tedious in that you have to measure the urinary iodine to give like 276, something like that, the dose, wherein the patient can respond, surely respond.
Okay, let us discuss later. Any other? Okay, please.
You mentioned the patients with thyroid withdrawal patient showed high best washout and recombinant with TSH. So I wonder, do you have any theory of this finding?
Okay. I'm also very, embarrassed because of that result. But I just realized that I don't know if that is true or not. But just to think about that, thyroid cancer tissue or thyroid remnant, it will take up the radioiodine, right? So it will incorporate it into the thyroglobulin, right? Right. So here is my, kind of theory. So in case of the thyroid hormone withdrawal, TSH level will stay quite high at quite a long time. You agree on that? So that high TSH may stimulate the secretion of the radioiodine in the form of the thyroid hormone. In case of the recombinant human TSH, the high level of the TSH level will be a little bit shorter compared to hormone withdrawal. Because of that, the lower level of TSH at maybe 3 or 4 days later, in case of the thyroid hormone injection, TSH injection, it might not push the radioiodine out from the cancer tissue in the form of the thyroid hormone labeled with the radioiodine. That is my thinking, but I don't know. Thank you. Okay, you might be the last. Thank you. Please, doctor.
Thank you for the lecture. I'm asking about the dosimetry. How can we use it to calculate the dose? I mean, dosimetry is calculated after giving the dose.
Yes, you do.
So how can I use it to? Is it for the next doses or?
Okay, let me answer for that. This is just, we wanted to know how much absorbed dose will be there, but this is a starting point, So let's say our dosimetric skill is good enough. In that case, we don't need to wait the dosimetric study before starting of the iodine-131 therapy. So we can give diagnostic dose of the radioiodine in the form of iodine-123 or iodine-124 linked with the TACT, and then we can find out the optimal dose for the patient, and then we can give iodine-131. So it's a totally different story. Okay, thank you so much, and see you again 5 or 10 minutes later. Thank you.